Chapter 9, Strategic Human Resources Development. So what is SHRD? Garavan tells us that this is the strategic management of training, development, and of management professional education interventions so as to achieve the objectives of the organization while at the same time ensuring the full utilization of the knowledge and skills and details of individual employees. Walter later added to the importance of ensuring appropriate stewardship in exercising over the learning process and providing direction to ensure that core competencies of the organization are enhanced through learning. There are several factors that exist within the global environment affecting the design and delivery of strategic HRD. We're going to first look at Garavan's factors, such as economic and political trends, technology change, labor market characteristics, national and cross cultural differences. These create uncertainties for organizations. In response, orgs should constantly scan their environments to stay aware of the most up to date trends and changes in the market conditions. There are others who have identified their own factors. Friedman has 10 that they identified, such as the creation of single economic blocks, connectivity, workflow software, communities, outsourcing, offshoring, supply chaining, insourcing, informing, personal digital assistance, and environmentalism and the green movement. Creation of single economic blocks refer to the establishment of the European Union and things such as that. Connectivity is obviously the internet and the connection people have due to it. Um, Environmentalism and the green movement is something that they added recently after more investigation into it. And so these are all just things that will impact a business's or organization's operations, and they will need to respond to it. If you want more information on each of these, you can check out page 141. So Similar also identified a couple of things. They said that orgs must proactively adjust to external market conditions, and if they fail to do that, they'll damage their success. External alignment to these environmental forces is much more important than the internal alignment. So, senior managers must exercise control of their respective areas to ensure external alignment is achieved. Next, we're going to go look at a couple of models and frameworks of SHRD. There are more than the ones we're going to go over here. You can check out page 144 for a really neat graph and chart that describes each of them. So first, we're going to look at Garavan's characteristics of SHRD, or how orgs can improve HRD. First is integrating HRD with org's mission and goals. Second is top management support in the control of resources, centrality, and environmental scanning. Next is line management's commitment and involvement to increasing buy-in of HRD, and expanding the trainer role to include innovators and consultants. They're not just trainers, they can also provide much more to the organization, and the recognition of the organization's culture. A culture of change is a good thing. HRD is future focused and it builds on org's core competencies. So, this is, like I said, how an org can move from HRD to strategic HRD. And later, they revisited this and made a 2.0 model entitled Strategic Perspectives of HRD. HRD planning should be formal, systematic, integrated with both corporate and human resource management planning. Environmental scanning should be regularly conducted. Once again, it is super important to be aligned to that external environment. Sharing ownership of HRD is critical to adding value to the organization. So we got to have those line managers and senior managers really involved and focused in what they're doing. HRD solutions must add value. You can't just throw stuff at a wall and see what sticks. There must be strategic plans into what is implemented and what their intended goals are and what they intend to achieve. So the Greaves model is also pretty interesting. It is called Strategic HRD Characteristics, and that is middle and line managers need to be better equipped to deal with this change. Focus on org's business strategy is super important. Line managers should be responsible for the day-to-day deliveries of HRD solutions because they're going to be the ones with the employees, hip to hip, shoulder to shoulder. They're going to be the ones who are able to push those changes. And employee-centered learning is continuous lifelong learning. So that is the goal. Forms of capital that exist in organizations. We have an activity for you guys to do based on this, so make sure to check that out. First, we're going to look at human capital, which is the sum of a worker's skills, experiences, capabilities, and tech knowledge, basically what they bring to the table. Social capital, which is the norms, networks, facilitating collective action for mutual benefit. Intellectual capital, applied experiences, organizational technology, customer relationships, and professional skills. This is what leads to competitive advantages. And then we have physical capital, tools used to produce and distribute goods and services. When people think of like physical capital, it's going to be like, um, your buildings, your product design, things like that. And then you have your customer capital, which is the combined value of relationships with customers, suppliers, industry associations, and the market. Barriers that exist to implementing strategic HRD approaches. Line managers will feel ill equipped to implement these solutions. They can be resistant to these types of changes. Proper training and support and direct communication will probably be the best way to combat this barrier. There's also confusion because of the ever changing roles, and they might feel ill equipped to be in these roles. Once again, communication is key. Make sure that they are well supported in their roles. HDR professionals might express concern about the vague nature of environmental scanning. As we looked at those environmental factors previously, I think that if you just kind of have a real firm grasp on the different things that can impact the organization and just regularly look at those, I think this can be combated pretty well. HDR professionals might also need skills to market and focus on HRD branding to help the buy-in within the organization. Also, outsourcing. There's an increased outsourcing within various areas of organizations. HRD is no different. This leads to a network approach, which is essentially contracted HRD facilitators working alongside senior managers and line managers to continue HRD services to organizations. Thank you guys for your time. We hope you enjoyed our presentation, and please check out our discussion posts.